I'm not a morning person. I hate them with a passion. I get up every morning around 5:30, but I'm not fully awake until 8 once I'm at work. On this particular morning, I was fighting for my will to exist, laying in bed while my wife was getting my daughter ready for school. I had just passed back out when my wife woke me up. "Get up right now," she whispered sharply. "There's a guy outside looking through the bathroom window." I rose up. "Are you serious?" "Yes, get up." In my mind, I was thinking it could have been our landlord's father working on something outside. It made sense in my sleepy stupor, at least. So I got up and I stopped at the doorway of the bathroom and looked out the window. Nothing. Then, a white face appeared, rousing a fear in me I haven't felt before. The guy's features weren't too pronounced, mostly because the glass was frosted, so he almost had a Michael Myers look. I could only tell that he was a white guy, probably in his mid-30s. The guy just stared into the window, seemingly looking at us with no care that we could see him. I yelled out, "Hello?" This caused him to almost scurry away. And that was all well and good, but what if he had a weapon? I have a small .38, but at the time it was in the glove box of our vehicle. There was no way I was going to chance going outside to go get it. So instead, I called 911, told them what happened, and within 25 minutes a cop knocked on our door. While we waited for the cop, my wife told me that before she woke up, she and my daughter saw a man, but they thought it was me. I'm a bit of a prankster, but that early in the morning, I'm barely awake and barely want to be alive, much less pulling pranks. She told me that when she saw the man, she told my daughter, "Look, it's your crazy daddy." My daughter laughed and waved to the stranger. "Hi, Daddy." It was after this that my wife knew something was off, when she saw me still laying in bed. So the cop gets to our house, and he asked what the guy looks like. My wife told him that the guy, well, he kind of looked like me. The cop looks at me, and he gets this expression on his face that I didn't like. "I think I know who this is," the cop says. "Yeah, he's, well, if it's who I think he is, he's kinda crazy." The cop explained to us that he had given this guy a ride before. He said he didn't think the guy was on drugs, but it was obvious he'd done something in the past to bake his brain. Most of all, I couldn't get past the tone of his voice. It was a mixture of guilt and concern. Did he regret not locking this guy up before? Either way, he made a single pass around the house, making sure the coast was clear, and then left. He told me to call if I'd seen the man come back. Later on, I decided to walk around the house myself, and what I saw disturbed me. Our yard holds water terribly, so it can be a pain to mow without getting stuck. The soft ground was beneficial though, because you can see footprints really well. I could see where the cop was. I could see where he'd walked because there was a single path 10 feet from the house. Right next to the house though, about 3 feet away, were many, many footprints, as if somebody had been walking no less than 3 times all around the perimeter. They went to every window, and the guy had even grabbed a cinder block, using it to see inside the bathroom window. What bothered me the most is that I have no idea what this guy's motivations were, nor how many times he'd done this before we noticed. Would he come back? What did he want? This happened at the end of August, so even though my guard's down, the memory's still fresh in my mind. We have a Great Dane now. Even though they're quite docile animals, the size alone can be intimidating. I'm just hoping something like this doesn't happen again. It's about 2 a.m. Everybody in my family, my brothers, sisters, me, my dogs, we're all sound asleep. Everyone except my mother. She's startled by the barking of my dog, Trevor. Trevor's old and generally a mean-spirited animal, so we almost always disregard his barking, but sometimes it's just different, you know? She leaves the bedroom in her pajamas. The entire house is pitch black. As she descends the staircase, step by step, she can hear a faint buzzing, sort of like a vibrating phone. Trevor sees her in the kitchen and gets that alert look on his face, like he's trying to say something. Anyway, my mom checks every door, and they're all locked. Every window, they're all closed. She can still hear the buzzing and follows the noise to the basement door. She's half asleep and sees nothing wrong with going into the isolated basement to find the weird noise while she's alone. Keep in mind, my basement is very large and totally unfinished. There's a cold, concrete floor, cracked stone walls, and a few hanging light bulbs with dangling pole chains. You have to walk up to them and turn them on if you want any light. There's no switch down there. So my basement's pitch black, save for the 3 windows that carry moonlight in. As my mom climbs down the creaky wooden steps, the buzzing is becoming much louder. She enters the basement, and it's really obvious that the sound's coming from my dad's workshop, which is hidden in a little cranny on the other side of the stairs. She steps nervously onto the cold stone ground and follows the moonlight around the corner. There's the sound. My dad's sander's plugged in, turned on, and buzzing violently on his desk. My dad unplugs all his tools when he's done with them to save energy, and he surely would have noticed if it was left on. So, my mom calmly turns it off, when suddenly it hits her. Somebody could have turned this on so they could lure me down here. So she sprinted through the basement, and back up the stairs, and locked the door behind her. It never happened again, and we never found out how the sander got turned on. I used to live in a trailer park in my sophomore year of college. It was a really nice city. Super liberal, hippy-dippy, you know. My 2 roommates were off in class, but I took the day off school as our dishwasher took a crap and I had to wait for the repairman to show up. It was one of those ridiculous, anytime between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. things. I did not want to wait a day longer as my roommates sucked at hand washing dishes, and I would have had to wash them all again as I cooked most of my meals at home. Anyways, I sleep in till about 10:45 a.m. I messed around for a few minutes and then got into the shower, not expecting the repairman to show up till the afternoon. I'm butt naked with a head full of shampoo when I heard someone knock at the door. I start washing up as quick as I can, and then I start hearing more aggressive knocking. The dude's waiting like 5 seconds between each volley of knocks. Thinking he must have been knocking for a while, and I just didn't hear him, I was feeling bad for making him wait. As I'm drawing off, and quickly putting some clothes on, I hear a very loud boom come from the door. I kind of second-guessed myself and thought, did I just really hear that? And stopped for a moment. Then I hear another loud bang, and I definitely could make out the noise of my front door being forced open. I thought about going to my room to retrieve one of my guns. Then I realized they were still in their cases after the last range day, with the locks still on them. I was almost laughing at the irony of all my preparation for the scenario, and then I got caught lacking on the day it would all matter, naked and afraid. I heard someone call out, "Hello?" And I decided to go meet my maker in a t-shirt and towel wrapped around my, well, you know. I figured if there was a fight coming on, maybe they would second guess it, getting my half-washed nuts rubbed all over them. I walk down the hallway and lean out into the kitchen, which has a good view of the front door. My door had been smashed in all right, and the wood frame was shredded. I caught the gaze of a scrawny man, about my size, 5'10", holding a sledgehammer, standing beside my ruined door. He honestly looked just as surprised as me. He said,
"Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't think anybody was home."
and bolts away. I'm beyond confused at this point, just looking at my smashed door, half naked like an idiot. I finally throw on some pants, go outside to investigate, but it was far too late to catch the culprit. My door had 2 huge dents in it, but it held up. It was just the frame that was destroyed. I had a suspicion that it wasn't a burglar, so I called my dad and asked him if the repairman he sent just came by. I explained what happened the best I could. He said that he'd call and he'd get back to me. I get a ring from him a few minutes later while I'm seeing if the door can be salvaged, and he sounds livid. The contractor they sent over mistakenly was told the job was for an asbestos test, typically what has to be done before a trailer's taken to the dump. The guy must have just assumed the home was vacant and let himself in after a courtesy knock and got scared when I was home and ran away. The part that made my dad angry was that they tried to say we had to pay for the damages for some smooth brain reasoning the greaseball manager came up with. It all ended in a "we'll see you in court" from my dad. He told me to photograph everything so we could use it as evidence, and he would drive over and help me fix the door. It all ended with the contracting company deciding to just cough up $200 instead of going to court. And the cherry on top was they sent the man that beat my door in back to give me the most awkward and rehearsed apology. I was reminded of this story as I drove past their office today and saw their doors were shuttered and everything was gone, hopefully out of business and no longer sledging doors in for surprise asbestos tests. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed what you saw today, feel free to hit that like button and maybe consider subscribing. If you really like what you saw, I have a few other videos on my channel. Feel free to check them out. Alright. Hope you have a good night. Bye.